Welcome to the DrNursePaul Show, hosted by Aspire RN and Dr. Paul. You are watching The Secrets of Next Generation NCLEX. Dr. Nurse Paul is an NCLEX expert, having trained and mentored thousands of international nurses past the NCLEX RN for over a decade. He graduated with a Doctor of Nursing Practice in Texas Christian University. He is a registered nurse, an advanced practice registered nurse, and a certified family nurse practitioner. He also has completed a Certificate for Nurse Educator postgraduate course. Aside from teaching, he has extensive clinical experience in emergency and family medicine. He has over 15 years of combined clinical and academic healthcare experience. Dr. Nurse Paul is an immigrant from the Philippines. He is currently based in Houston, Texas, where he operates his business, DrNursePaul, and Aspire RN NCLEX Prep. He loves to share his life story of how he overcame his challenges to reach his dreams. He is passionate in helping nurses realize the American dream. So without further ado, let's all welcome Dr. Nurse Paul.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are live streaming here from Houston, Texas, and this is the Dr. Nurse Paul Show. Today, we're going to have the USA Nurse Series, Season 2, Living the American Dream, and we're going to talk about cost of living in the USA. I have my very good friend, one of our popular Lefora group admin, Miss Kaye, the Travel Nurse Hacker. Hello, Miss Kaye.
Hi, Paul. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Guys, please tag your friends and share this to your pages. Miss Kaye is one of our good resources in Lefora. She's one of our huge advocate for the protection of nurses. She shares so much of her time, of her experiences, of her knowledge for free in Lefora group. And we are just so thankful that Miss Kaye joined us in Lefora. And today we're going to have Miss Kaye talk about cost of living. And I know Kaye has a lot of things to talk about cost of living. She's pretty good with her own research. I'm one of her fans. And we managed two groups together, both Lefora and a financial group for healthcare workers. And she's really one of those people that I think she can write a book at this point, because her posts are like really, really good, very thorough. She dissects things for you. She makes sure that she did her research before she puts out her stuff out there. So thank you, Kaye, for devoting your time for our nurses. You do more than what is really required as an admin, because you're sharing so much of your valuable time and resources to the people. And Jade is here, one of our viewers. She's saying, good morning, Miss Kaye. Good morning to Paul. And Mary Jane also said, we are very thankful to Miss Kaye. And we have a lot of people watching right now from Saudi Arabia. Guys, tell us where you're coming from today. We can see your comments. And that way we know where our viewers are coming from. And Kay, where you are right now? Because I know you travel a lot.
Don't worry, Paul. Even my family don't know where I am. um, Currently, we're here in Maryland, in Baltimore.
Mm,
I got a contract with Johns Hopkins Hospital, so I'm gonna
nice,
be here.
nice, nice. How is it working for Johns Hopkins?
It's very prestigious company. I would say I've been working with a lot of academic and high-end hospitals, but it has their own specialty. So for this assignment, they got me specifically for trauma.
Nice. Wow. That's pretty good. I mean, Johns Hopkins is like number one, or because it's Johns Hopkins, Cleveland, and Mayo Clinic usually are the top three. So
Yes,
pretty
they were top one for many, many years. Now it's Mayo Clinic, Mass General Hospital. I also work in
uh,
Mass General Hospital.
the Harvard.
Um,
Is that the Harvard?
yes,
Yeah. Oh my
yay.
God. Look at you, Kay.
I love it. And now
She's the best
Hopkins.
resource for us today because she's worked in the best hospitals in the United States. Like when I say best, this is best not only in the US, it's also in the world.
Yeah, so we have high-end profile clients in here as well in Hopkins. So
Hmm.
a couple of our clients are coming from around the world just to be operated here.
Right.
Same as when you go to high-end hospitals, famous hospitals. A lot of them are celebrity. So
Right.
one
Right.
time I was in Mass General, Adele was there too.
Oh wow, that's
So it's a very good experience to have when you land on
right.
these
Right.
research academic hospitals.
Yeah, yeah. I've worked once in a research hospital here in Houston in St. Luke's Medical Center. It's one of the heart hospitals, and it's busy. Like there's a lot of
Yes.
residents and student nurses, student pharmacists. It's pretty good. There's a lot of hands to help you when something happens, but it's busy because it's evidence based, so they're more thorough with interventions and all that, particularly in the ER. But I can imagine how it is like in the trauma room in the OR.
Oh, I love it. Trauma is my
They probably have
specialty.
all the trauma specialty known to man, like every single body part. They have a specialist. I don't know.
Yeah, so here the ER, you know what the deal is. But for us, it's a lot more better when there is like a designation. Let's say it's a burn center,
Right.
so that's something.
Mm,
It's a stroke center, so
right.
stroke center, you have to be from ER door to OR, opening the head, which is within 30 minutes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. True, true. That's
So
crazy.
challenges there, but the educational opportunity is really, really great.
Right. I'm pretty sure you guys are getting like to see the procedures that you don't see everywhere. Like because these are very specialized hospitals. But that's good. I mean, so if you guys want to work in Johns Hopkins or is it Massachusetts? Or
Johns Hopkins is in Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore. What's
Yes,
the other one? The Mass Gen?
the Massachusetts General
Very
Hospital.
good.
That's
Yeah.
the mother of all hospitals here in the U.S.
Yeah, yeah,
Technically,
yeah.
if
Harvard.
you,
I know them for Harvard.
yes, exactly. Those are all Harvard professors, the surgeons
Yep.
there, and they're one of the biggest. They have 92 operating rooms.
Nice. Oh my goodness, 92.
Yeah,
Oh my God. I'm beginning to think how big is their ER because wow, 92 OR rooms. That's a massive hospital.
it is. I went to their central supply room. I felt like I was in Costco.
Oh wow, Jesus. I feel like I'm gonna get lost in the OR. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
That's too huge for me. Wow, that's crazy. But guys, if you have questions, Miss Kay will be here to answer our questions today. And we have a lot of viewers today, guys. Please tag your friends and share this to your page. This is a very important thing that we'd like to share. It's about cost of living in the US. They say here you earn dollars, but you also spend dollars. And one of the things we always say, me, Kay, Anna, Miss Jean, all of us before admins, is be smart about your money because this is hard. I mean, nursing itself is hard work, so we don't want you to come over here and just burn money and not have investments or not have savings for your future. And one of the things you need to really consider before jumping on board and getting on a job contract is the cost of living in the area where you're working at, because there can be a mismatch. What if they offered you 40 an hour and you think you compute it on your own country's denomination? Say, for example, in the Philippines, it's 2,000 pesos per hour. But if it's a high cost of living area or HCOL, then that's going to pose a problem for you because rent is going to be expensive, commodities, food, everything else. So very important. Think about cost of living, do your own research. But today we're going to have resources. We're going to talk about things that we can check through the experiences of Miss K and I as well. All right. So, and we're gonna answer questions in a little bit, but let's have Miss K introduce herself formally for now and tell us about your immigrant story.
So again, my name is Kay, and I've been in the U.S. Since 2000, end of 2005, 2006. So I came here by myself, not knowing anything about America. I landed in the beautiful city of New York City. So my first assignment from the Philippines was in Manhattan, New York. As everybody knows, that's not one of the cheapest place to live, and
Right.
Manhattan, when you say Manhattan, I'm pretty sure a lot of people went there too. It's a bottle of water can cost you $3.
My goodness.
So
It's getting more expensive now because
exactly.
of
So when I
inflation.
get there, I started computing everything. And then my sister, whom I borrowed her credit card from the Philippines, she called me that one day and she said, "What did you eat in McDonald's?" And I said, I was so hungry. I swiped it for one meal of burger, French fries, and a drink, and it was $7 back then. Was 350 pesos, but
Pesos, yeah.
the
Mhm.
meal back then in the Philippines was around 60 pesos. So
Right.
for
Oh my
her, what
goodness.
did you eat in McDonald's? Why it was 300 plus, right?
Right, right, right.
So the cost of living was really high in Manhattan. But anyway, um, as I learned things in New York City for many years of working there, it's one of the state that has triple taxes. So we get hit by federal, we have
Mhm.
hit by state, and we also have city taxes.
Oh my goodness.
so so it's a very good thing to learn because when I was new, I was working a lot. I was single. I was by myself, and I would spend time like really doing a lot of overtime
Right.
as a single. And after almost a year, I kind of realized that this overtime is really eating my I mean, sorry, the taxes are really eating my overtime and my
Right,
pay.
right.
Like about 40% of my income was going to taxes. So then after 1 year, I started doing travel nursing and
Right.
realized trying to learn
Something.
um, about how taxation works. And it
Right.
was very good because a lot of people thought I left my first job. Hey, I didn't buy out my contract, FYI. I did my travel nursing. I have no non-compete clause, so I was able
Right.
to do my contract from the Philippines for the weekend, and then I did travel nursing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Um, that's how I started building all this experience. And now, 16 years after, I'm here. I'm helping you guys. I learned Lefora and when was that? I'm new to Lefora 2020, end of 2021, just
Yeah.
start of 2022.
Right.
So that's my story, coming from the Philippine ignorant, now learning all the tricks and hoops of travel nursing and living in the USA. I have moved 13 times in the past 17
13
years.
times. That's a
So
lot of
that's
movement.
exactly. And then I also went for my master's in education in Western Governor University, which is an online program, just for me to get that tuition reimbursement, because it
Yeah.
was a benefit.
They're gonna
I
pay
really
for it
did.
anyway.
Yeah, they're
Correct.
gonna pay for it. Might as well take it.
It's free
I
money.
exactly. So, but I never got to use it in academia, primarily because academia wasn't paying that much, and I have financial
Mhm.
goals.
That's so true.
So I stayed as a travel nurse, mostly on the Northeast Coast. And when I finally kind of really mastered how taxation works, now I'm a local traveler for 8 years now.
That's good. That's the way to go. Like I've been here in Houston for
Yeah, yeah,
almost 3 years now, and I haven't been employed as a full-time W-2 jobs here. I've worked in probably 6 or 7 hospitals here over the last 2 years, but all of them are travel because local travel is the way to go. Something like that, like gig job is what they call it. But hey,
yeah,
we all have financial goals, and like Kay said,
yeah,
right? She had to figure out what her financial goals is, um, and being in the academe doesn't lead her there, so she has to do this, and I as well. So very important that we talk about finances. This is like my
mhm,
intro show for financial, but I want to talk about cost of living first. But in the future, we're gonna bug Kay again to join us in our shows about investments. She's one of my co-admins in the group that I put out. I'm not active there anymore because I'm so busy with my own business. But we put out a group for healthcare workers during the thick of the pandemic. And we were talking about financial stuff for free, all our researches we put out there. Kay is also one
yeah.
of the admins there, very, very thorough with her research. And we have a lot of stuff to talk about, like where to invest and where not to invest in the future, right? Kay? You know
Absolutely.
what I'm talking about. Anyway, Kay, for our next question, why do we need to talk about cost of living expenses or COL?
So we definitely need to talk about that because when I learned here in the US is again doesn't matter how much money you earn, it's really on how much you keep. And when you talk about expenses, you don't only talk about cost of your basic like housing, you're not talking about just your car, mortgage, insurances, but the cost of living is also included your taxation. That's one thing I want to reiterate there. A lot of people come to me and they started researching about their cost of living before coming in the US, and they totally forgot about taxes too. So again,
Right,
cost of living, you have to include housing, sorry, total pay of their gross, and minus all your personal expenses and minus taxes.
right,
So you have to compute that. A lot of people ask me, is this amount okay? Is this 39 per hour okay? Well, again, it might be okay to some, it might not be okay to others.
right,
It boils down to what's your cost of living, what's your lifestyle. That's why it's very important
right.
to know that, because otherwise you might have goals or you might have expectations coming to the US and thinking like, say, next year I'm going to buy a house. If you don't know how to compute your cost of living, buying a house will never be possible if you miscalculate it.
I don't know if it's only me, but when I was new, well, I do this all the time. I'm pretty good with math and I'm pretty good with my finances, but I still have an Excel where I put my template budget for the month because my income should always be based on my budget. If for example I'm spending 5,000 a month, then I shouldn't be earning 5,000 a month. I should be earning more than that so I can put more to savings and retirement fund, something like that. So you guys have to figure out, Kay is right there, that it's not only about your per hour rate, especially for immigrant nurses that are being offered jobs. First thing you need to remember is we have taxes. And secondly, we have cost of living. So that 39 per hour may be big in one city, but maybe very small for another city. So very important to consider cost of living because that's where your money is going to go to. Like aside from all the things that you already have to pay for, like car and utilities and house and food, but your lifestyle, like Kay is right. Do you like to party every weekend? Do you like to travel a lot? You got to put put that on into the account when you check your cost of living. But also checking the price index where you're gonna go. Right now, um, we can do a lot of research online, but it might skew the research that you're gonna see because of the inflation right now, very high inflation all over the world. I mean, post pandemic. So everything is expensive right now. Like I don't usually go to the grocery because I don't like grocery like for myself, right? Because it's a lot of people, and I just get anxious with the grocery, and I feel like I'm stuck there for 3 hours because I want to buy everything. So I do Instacart so I can work on my stuff while at home. But the one time that I went to the grocery before I left for the Philippines, was when I figured out that inflation is really bad because um, I was picking up this loaf of bread that was $6, and this is Houston, like almost $6. Where in the past I was buying it for like $3, so it almost doubled in a couple of months. So that's one of the things you need to consider: food, utilities, and everything else, because you don't want to be like earning 3,000 but spending 5,000, because then you're gonna be deep in debt, right? And
Correct.
Miss Kay, we have a fan here. I do not have her name because she's in Lefora. I'm gonna have to look at it. But thank you, Dr. Nurse Paul, for Miss Kay. You are not only inspirational to Filipinos but to the whole world watching from South Africa. Miss Kay, you have a fan from South Africa.
Thank you. Thank you. You find my information helpful.
Right, right. And we have watchers from all over the world. We have let me see, because we got flooded with messages here. We have someone earlier said she is from Nepal. Andrew is here from Nepal. Eloise is from Manila. And there's one comment here that says cost of living in US depends on which state are you, right?
Yes, actually, it's not really on just state. It's
Yeah.
actually zip code. You
Zip
have
code
to be
level, city
particular
level.
in zip
Right,
code.
right.
Yep, not just state,
Because
not just city, but zip code.
yeah, because New York is a state, and the New York City NYC might have a different cost of living than the upstate New York or something like that. So guys, look at it at the city level, at the zip code level, because it really differs from place to place, and that's what is a little complex with the states, because it's so diverse, including cost of living. So it's really hard to figure out. That's why when I get those questions, is this a good salary? What do you think? I was like, I'm not sure. I've not worked there, but I can probably Google that if that's the median salary in that area. But anyway, Miss Kay, how is the cost of living in your residence right now in Maryland? I mean,
Um,
you've been from places to places,
for
so
places to play,
give
yes.
us an overview.
So I would say, well, how about we'll start like when I was in New York City. New
Yeah.
York City and California, I would say will be almost on the same level.
Yes.
Um, you can see houses there are smaller square footage. Let's say a two-bedroom apartment in New York City,
Mm-hmm.
two-bedroom in an apartment, let's say a 1,200 square feet apartment, will be costing you around 2,500 to $3,000 per month. Now we go to where I am right now here in Baltimore, Maryland. You can see a two-bedroom, one bath would be costing you about close to 1,800 to 2,500. So it's lower cost of living. Um, but actually, I was surprised that my taxes are higher here than actually in New Jersey and New York.
Mm.
Um,
Wow, that's interesting.
I was surprised too because I totally forgot it's not a city tax here. It is county taxes. So again, there is a federal now and there is a state and there is a county tax. So a
Wow.
county tax is like I mean it's accumulation of towns and they and create a county. So and I was thinking why is this more expensive here with
Yeah.
the county tax? It's
Pay for
because
school?
they pay for school. So a lot
Yeah.
of schools here, public schools in Maryland, are actually very well good performing public
Yeah.
schools.
Uh,
When I was in New Jersey, I was in a very place where a lot of them are beach goers. So
yeah,
we're
right.
talking
Yeah.
about not really more on students, but there are also good school district. But then where I exactly where the zip code was, it is not going to the district of school that I want to send my kids. So we will have to pay a private school.
Wow.
So you can tell the difference here. I
Right.
might be earning less, but my taxes are high, but I did not have to pay for private school
Right. Because the
because
schools
the
are good.
education system is very, very good. They have even way more technologies where I was putting my kids prior to that in New Jersey with private school.
Wow.
So you can tell the difference why a cost of living might be more expensive in other place. New Jersey high and New York high property taxes and high cost of living, high amount of I mean sorry high prices of houses. But here less price of the house, but more on taxation. In because of the school system and the benefits for the government. I mean, the benefits of the government. You're very close to DC,
Right,
so
right, right. So
you're
and
very
DC is
accessible.
expensive. I visited this DC. Like I would look at the houses. I'm gonna talk about it later, but it's very expensive there.
Yes, so you get both the city life. You get the a little bit more space than DC.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But if you have family, this is a very good spot, sweet spot as well. And we have a lot of hospitals that we can work around. So the job security is there, the good school system is there, and the pay is not as low as other places, other states that have low pay for the nurses, or states that have no income tax. Let's say Florida, some part of Texas, Arizona, Nevada. I know Arizona is one of the worst paying states, but yeah, low cost of living. But then you will
I,
have to
I
assess.
heard houses they're expensive now though. So
Oh yeah, everywhere.
yeah,
But we're
everywhere.
very happy that this part here where we are, the houses really didn't go ballistic, crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But when I was in New Jersey, we just sold the house. The houses went crazy ballistic in price.
Right, right, right.
So, cost of living, you will have to see how the prices also of the houses fluctuate. Everybody went to Florida during pandemic, so the houses in Florida cost is very high now.
Right, right, right. East Coast people went down to Florida to do remote jobs, huh?
Yes, and like New York City, a lot of people move out because everybody did remote.
Yeah, remote.
So the housing cost in New York City actually went down in
Oh wow.
2021 and 2022. Now
Nobody
they're
wants to go
they're
there.
starting to get back because all the college students are coming back,
Right, right.
and remote people. So actually the cost of living fluctuates very, very well during the times right now.
Right, right. And with me, when I do cost of living, there's a lot of different price index. Like I said, you can check food, you can check many things, but there's two things that I check first when I go to a new place. To like, whenever I travel, I was like, how is it to live here? The first thing I look at, and this is fairly easy, is the gas prices because you need transportation. So definitely, if there's any one indicator, one good indicator for cost of living is the gas. So, for example, here in Texas, I haven't been using gas because I'm driving an electric car now. But um, like gas here is about 2.7 or 2.6. But if you go to like California or Hawaii, it's somewhere around 5.4 or 4.9. So, difference in gas can, of course, if we travel the same distance, if we both travel to work 20 miles, then you're spending more than me already, something like that. Another thing that I look at, this is my favorite, is Kay said apartments. So apartments and housing. Like I would travel, say for example, to LA, and I see a good spot. Like okay, I wanna be here in West Hollywood. How much is it to rent over here for 700 square feet? And I would look at prices, $2,000, $3,000, and I'm like, okay, so in Houston I can get this for $1,000. I'll stay in Houston for now, because then my money that I earn would be spent for that. So this is how I think. If I'm making, say, for example, as a full time staff in Houston, 60 an hour, and I pay my apartment 1,200 a month. If I'm gonna move to LA and pay an apartment that's 2,400 a month, then my salary should double. That way I keep it in proportion. Because if my budget is 20% or 30% of my income is for housing, then I should keep it proportional. That's how I think. Wherever I'm at right now, I use that as my basis to check for cost of living. Say for example, my last travel job was in Hawaii. So when I was in Hawaii, I was renting an apartment from a friend, and I was paying the bills. When I look at the bill, my electric bill was somewhere around uh, $300. And this is a small apartment, like say 500 square feet, very small, probably like my office. My house is a 2,400 square feet house, and I'm paying for 180 dollars for AC all day long, and it's Houston. It's hot most of the time. So I checked how much the electricity is. Here in Houston, I pay 10 cents per kilowatt. In Hawaii, it's 45 cents per kilowatt. I was like, oh my God. I love Hawaii. It's so pretty, but the cost of living is just too much for me. But here in Texas, like for example, for Houston, we only pay federal taxes. We don't have state taxes. We don't have city taxes. So we only pay the feds. But the caveat is the property taxes, if you are a homeowner, is one of the biggest in the United States. Here in my home, close to the med center, I'm inside the loop of Houston, which is the loop is where everything is. Like it's the middle of the city. Um, it's 2.4% every year for your appraisal value. So I'm paying around $10,000 or $11,000 a year as tax for my house. But for me, I'm okay paying that versus if I work in Chicago and they're gonna take 5% of all my income. So if I make 200,000, say for example, I'm not saying I'm making that much, probably Kay.
Yeah, you do.
We're not gonna talk about
No, I
that.
don't. I
I don't.
don't.
Anyway, we're not going to talk about how much we make. That's private information. But so for example, if I make 200,000 a month, I'm a year, not a month. I wish it was true. A year, and 5% would be $10,000 already. So, but if I make more, they're going to take more, and that's only the state. That's not. I mean, the state. That's not including the feds. So something to think about. But then again, if you think about it, Houston people, as in Houston, do not earn as much as people from San Francisco or New York City or LA because, like I said, the cost of living is so much lower. So we cannot compare. It's like comparing apples to oranges. Like, oh, why is my offer in Houston 40 an hour and in LA it's 70 an hour because of the cost of living. So that's the main different. That's the main factor why there's differences in job offers. And another factor is, of course, the agency is probably taking a cut for your job. That's very
True.
personal topic, right? Okay. There's
Yeah,
so much
you're.
to talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You're probably. If I was a recruiter, I'm gonna be making sure I'm taking a huge cut.
Yeah, but let me
Because
get 20 an hour of this. In travel nursing, that is true as well. So we always say read your contract, whether you're taking a job from outside the US to the US or when you're here and you're applying for another job. Always read your contract. And if you're not comfortable with the pay, don't accept it. We have a question here. In case you're bound to a contract from an agency, after your contract, can you be a travel nurse? Miss K.
you have to read the entire contract. I mean, so yes, so after your contract, yes, you are very free to become a travel nurse. You're a free agent. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, but even if you are actually currently in
Currently, yeah.
contract and your schedule permits you to do another contract, like
Yep.
what I did, and I do not have a non-compete clause,
Yep.
you can simultaneously do it. You know, a lot of people do double jobs, so it's
Yep.
the
Me.
same, yeah, double job.
A lot
So
of
me,
Filipinos.
I was so busy back then because I had weekends in my hospital. That was a full-time job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is my traveling assignment. And
Yeah.
I still have Thursday off, which I'm doing per diem sometimes. And
Yeah.
on top of it, I was working on my master's. Hey, if you
Right,
can
right,
juggle everything like I did,
right, right.
you can retire early too.
Right, true, true. That's it would work now and play later, kind of like that. But
Yes.
yeah, read your contracts, guys. Very important. We've highlighted that in many shows that we did. Kay, me, and the other lawyers. Like for example, with Kay, she was able to do it. Me, I was able to do it. I clarified it with my recruiter, and they said yes, you can, as long as you're not gonna call out or compromise your main job, which we hired you for. You can work on your free time because your free time is your free time. But then again, I clarified it before I worked in another hospital. I have my PRN job, which was paying almost double than what I was making in my other job. So when I was new here in my first 3 years, all I did was work 5 times a week, right? Just 3 days in main job, 2 days in my PRN. Sometimes I would take an extra 6 day, and then after 2 or 3 months I'd travel, and then I come back, pick up more overtime to make up that money that I spent for travel. And
Exactly.
have my savings
I
that I don't touch.
Yeah, that's why they asked me in the Philippines back then, how come you're on vacation every 6 months here?
Travel
Because
nursing. Yep.
I have
And
a very high living, and there are also means of earning higher
right.
than your full-time job.
All about financial goals. My friend Gian says hello, boss Paul and Miss K. Gian works with me, Inspire RN. Thank you, Sir Gian. Sergian is one of your fans too. I mean, you have a lot of followers, Miss K, following you.
Hello, Jill.
We have our co-admin, Sir Marvin. I wish he could join us today. We could not bring all the admins because everybody's busy working, particularly those that are watching from Lefora, our Facebook group with 180,000 members. Why we have this show is because we're doing this as a paid forward show for everyone. It's an informative show. But for you for your information, guys, all of your admins are have full-time jobs, have families. So sometimes they're like, why are you not approving my post? We have like 500 posts to approve every day. So we apologize if we could not keep up, but we have other jobs too. So, but all of these are volunteer work. Thank you to our admins. Jay, this year, Miss K, how many taxes are we talking about in California?
Oh, California, that's gonna be more than it's a progressive. So again, taxes is not like it's the same for everybody. Let's say this is my very best example of how I would see it. Let's say you have three kids or three students, right? And the young
Right,
student is very young, like let's say 3-year-old. The other is 5-year-old. The other one is 10-year-old, right?
right,
So they're all got in trouble, and you want to discipline them, correct? So you're going to be more harsh with the older one, but you're
right,
going to be more lenient or forgiving than the first one. So let's
right,
say I'm going to give the little one, the 2-year-old, I'm going to give you one punishment, and then the 5-year-old, I'll give you two punishment, but the older one, I'll give you three punishment. So it's like taxes. It's like that. The first part of your salary will
at
be
this
taxed
level.
on a lower rate,
Yeah,
and then as it goes up, then you get taxed more on that, and then you're gonna average all of it, and that's what you call the effective tax rate. So California, the highest you can go in California, I believe that's 12%, if I'm not mistaken.
13, 13.
Oh, 13%.
Yeah.
Yes. So other states don't have taxes, so they're zero. So you will see there that if you are a person in California on a tax bracket rate of 8% and versus Florida, technically you're just skipping the 8% there.
Right,
so
right, right.
but then you will have to compare. Oh, Florida is actually paid half of California. So again, going back to that taxation, California versus Florida, if you fall on the 8% bracket, then you are just paying 8% more than people who are in Florida.
Right, right.
How about your salary? Well, my salary is times 100%. So now you can see that even
You
though
earn
I'm
more. Yeah,
earning 100% more, if I minus that 8% difference, I will still be able to save more in my pocket. So this is very important to understand because a lot of people come to me, Miss K, I want to move to Texas because Texas has no income tax. I live in Illinois, which is high income tax. But then when I look at the person, I said, you have kids. Are you aware there's $20,000 tax deductible on college funds for kids? If you put money in there, you
What do we say?
actually
529? Is that 529, right?
Yes, the 529 plan. Illinois is one of the highest, $20,000 for married
Per
couple
per
per
year.
kid, per
Per
kid per year. So
Woo!
she has three kids.
That's
So
tax free.
if
They're,
you
they're,
just
they're
put
not gonna
money in
tax me.
there,
Yeah,
exactly, it's a
tax
529 plan is
shelter.
a free tax contribution that you can use
Yeah.
for college plan. So it can be very good. That state, even though with a high
Wow.
income tax and high cost of
Yeah,
living, can be very beneficial for people who has kids who are paying for their college students. Or 529 plan is also a college plan, familiar college plan, but they open this now to private schools. You can use that to high school.
yeah. Oh
um,
wow.
yes, so
Before it's only
529
for
plan.
college, huh? Now it's
Yes, exactly.
wow.
Now, so that 529 plan can also cover all the books, all the boarding, all the tuition fees of the kids. So
There you
not
go.
just tuition fee. So there are things that you will have to understand when you talk about cost of living and choosing your states. So if you have
Yep,
kids with that you will have to pay for their school, this
yep.
is something that you want to consider. It's called 529 plan. So look into it. If you have kids who are going to school and you think that state has high income taxes or high cost of living, check into the 529 plan, see if they have tax deductible, and it might be okay for you to go to those states with high taxes because you're going to be safe with that.
Right, right. And I think in another show, let's create a show where we talk about taxes too, because a lot of people are so interested with taxes, tax
Mm,
sheltered accounts, something like that, and we really can share a lot with that because taxes itself is very complicated here in the
definitely.
United States.
Yeah.
But it's like this is what I always say. You gotta play the game or the game plays you. So you gotta be a
Exactly.
player or are you gonna be di ba, parang like you
Yeah.
have to think about it like you gotta know what you're doing because otherwise you might be throwing away money to taxes where you could have been investing that for your retirement for your kids, something like put it in HSA for your health. So there are so many things that you need to consider, especially with the inflation right now. Everything is expensive. You don't want to be wasting so much money, but also
Yes.
very important to check your cost of living. Like I said, the first thing to like a lot of people ask me, how do I like sort my finances? Well, that's a very hard question, but I always say, here's your kiddo. Good morning.
Hi, good
So
morning.
That's what I get to wear.
Okay, my princess.
so
I get
cute,
to
just
Oh,
like
fly.
mommy.
cute. Cute. Ready?
Uh,
Yeah.
Mama, aren't you gonna let me?
I know, right? Yes. Sorry, just a
that's
second.
all right. It's so cute.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
there you go. The cost of living. For example, there is we might be paying more cost of living here in the suburb life
Yeah.
compared to rural places. The housing here might be more costly than other places that are less populated.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when I have kids, hey, the convention center there have activities. There's a lot of things that we can do. The
Yeah.
airport is very accessible to us. It's only 30 minutes for the airport, international airport. Actually, within the 1 hour drive, we have three airports here: Dallas, Washington, Reagan, which is the DC, and we have a Baltimore as well airport. So the convenience and the accessibility of your community activities are very important for us. We might have to pay more than other people, but hey, we have a gym here. It's called YMCA, and they're very, very, very good when it comes to community activity, especially for the kids. They have swimming there, they have rock climbing. I
Right.
go do my gym, my workout there. So those are like, oh, we got free membership. We have different options for the grocery. Here we have variety. If you have Whole Foods, organic, or you want regular retail, we have Costco. We have everything.
Right.
I'm pretty sure there are a lot more as well in the rural areas or the less populated area. But again, we have for us, it's important for us the community activities. The kids, we can enroll them to dancing school, karate.
Right.
It's so easy to find those activities for kids. When we have visitors, we have the Baltimore Inner Harbor, so we can take them around as well. There are so many things to do. It's just a matter of what kind of lifestyle that you really want to live,
Right.
and you use that to choose the state or the proper place for you.
Right, right. And very important to like know your financial status first. Like if I get asked how do I start my finances, the first thing that I said is, okay, here's my Excel sheet. Write down your income in a month and write down all your expenses. That's the first step to really figure out your finances. And cost of living is one of the many things that we're going to talk about with the financial aspect of being a nurse here. But my next question for Kay is, what are the resources that you can share to check cost of living and other things?
Yeah, so the number one place, if you have no idea, one place is to start with, like Paul said, housing. Look at the housing cost. Number one, Zillow is there. You can, or apartments.com. You also
Amazon.
have rent.com, realtor.com. I don't use it often. Usually they're on the realtor side. So I would say they price there a little bit higher.
Yeah, yeah,
Zillow
true.
is more on the consumer side, so the prices there are lower. So the different websites can actually bring you different results. So again, Zillow side is mostly on consumer side, so you will see a very a lower price in there. Also, when you go to Google Maps, and then type the zip code where you're gonna be, and then after you type the zip code, the Google Map will zoom you to that location. You can put their apartments, and
Right, right.
then and then it will show you different apartments that might not be showing in Google search. Because when you look at Google search and you type their apartment for rent with zip code, majority the research the results that will come out are actually the apartment that pays marketing fee to Google. So you will see those apartment on a higher scale.
Right.
But actually, if you just go to Google Map, type the zip code, and then type apartment, and then you will see there's smaller apartment that might not even have a budget for marketing for Google Ads. So you might see a better number in there. Another place that I'd like to check is called the GSA per diem, which is
Yeah.
we always use as a traveling nurse. So again, it's called GSA. Per diem rates. So it will show you as a traveling person going to a new place. But you will see there an example is okay, housing will cost you about 150 per day, something like that. But if you are going to live there longer, if you're going to stay on a 1 year lease, so my rule of thumb there is usually cost like a third or a half of it. Okay, so if it's 150, probably for short-term travelers, it will cost them 150, but for long-term people, it will cost them like half of that or less. Okay, so again, that's called GSA per diem. So that's a government website which fluctuates per month of the year and per zip code. So you have to know where you're going for the zip code. Okay.
All right. And for me, I want to share with me when I check the pay rates, like for example, I would do like somebody's trying to offer me a full-time job. What I do is go to glassdoor.com because I like Glassdoor. It's one of those websites where you can check for jobs like Indeed or LinkedIn. But with Glassdoor, I don't know with others, but I'm comfortable with Glassdoor. It's a big company here. So Glassdoor, GLASSDOOR.com. You put in there your jobs or what areas or location, or you can actually look for the company. Say, for example, you know which hospital you want to work for, and then click that company, check job offers, positions, or salaries, and it will tell you what salaries the employees are making from there. So you have like an idea. Oh, nurses here are making at least 70,000 a year. So that's what's going to give you an idea. Another thing that I wanna share is paycheck calculator. The one that I use is from paycheckcity.com. Paycheckcity.com. When you go there, click calculators and click hourly calculator, and you can plug in there your hourly rate and then how many hours you're working for that rate. So with travel nursing, I use that a lot because we have overtimes, we have regular rate, overtime. So I would plug in my regular rate, my overtime, and then you can list down all your deductions. I'm single, so I do not put anything in there. If you have kids, you can just put some deductions there, but you can start by not putting anything on the deductions, just so you know how much you're gonna get, and it's almost very accurate. It's just only like there's a difference of about $100 or $200, but that gives me a huge like idea of how much I'm gonna make. The reason why, for example, when I was on the lookout for a job last summer, my choices were between staying in Houston because I have a business that I need to work on, going to San Francisco or LA because I have job offers there from my recruiter, or going to Hawaii. I could stay in Houston. I'm sorry, I have cold. I could stay in Houston. I'm sorry.
Nagbibinata ka na.
No, sorry about that. I could stay in Houston, but it's summer. I want to be somewhere else. I want to like enjoy summer, but also traveling and working same time. So now I'm down between California and Hawaii. When I compared them, I figured that if I was gonna go in California, they're gonna take out most of my money because I'm single. Even with stipends, the max stipend is only 1,600 a week or something that they were gonna give me, and they won't budge the agency, right? And I have more in the gross pay, like with the pay that they're gonna tax. So they're gonna take about 40% of my money, 40 to 45% just for taxes because of all the taxes in LA. But with Hawaii, what happened was I got max stipend, which is like I think it's 2,400 a week, and then my pay is a little smaller than that, which means I get more pre-tax. I hope IRS is not watching right now, but I mean it's legal. It's a legal thing, but I got the max stipends, which means at the end of the day, when I did my paycheck city calculator, I was gonna make more in Hawaii versus California. And who doesn't like Hawaii? I get to go there. They pay for, I mean, they literally pay for my housing because of the stipends, right? And I get to enjoy the holiday island that all Americans just want to go to, but they don't have the the opportunity to do it. And I have the opportunity to do it. So I went there and I made more money than if I was in California. But of course, I still want to work in California. I still want to work in these cities. I just want to try, but that's how I do it. Like I made Houston my base. That way I don't have state taxes because it gets confusing when you come from a city with state tax and then you work in another city with state tax. Now I've heard a lot of horror stories from travel nurses where, oh, I'm already paying state tax for my home, and the other state is also asking for. There's no principle. There can be no double taxation here. So now you're gonna have to work with your CPA to see who should be receiving the taxes, right? So I don't have that problem in Houston because we don't have state taxes. I worked in Chicago, and Chicago said, okay, we're gonna get 5% of what you earn in Chicago. I'm fine with that. And I went to Hawaii, and they said, okay, we're gonna get a certain percentage of what you're earning in Hawaii. I'm fine with that. Texas doesn't have a problem because we don't have state taxes. So it's all about what matters for you. But then again, before me and Kay and many travel nurses and many nurses that are in full-time jobs right now have settled down to figure out where we want to live, where we want to be permanent, where we want to be travel nursing, we listed down our financial state first. So that's a very important part. Like write down your income, your expenses, apartments.com, how much are you going to rent, right? Your car. Say, for example, there's auto calculators, mortgage calculators with Google. When I started here, my mortgage, I'm sorry, my loan for my auto is like $500. So I put $500 for that. And then you have your car insurance, your utilities, your food, something like that. But very important to know these parts of aspects of working in the United States because you could be offered a job that you thought was enough and you come over here and you're going to rack up debts. We don't want you to do that. So please research. Google has a lot of resources. And that's it. Miss Kay, do you have any last final words, suggestions, or tips for our viewers? And talk about your services that you do for migrant nurses too.
Oh yeah, so thank you for that. I almost forgot about it. So again, research can really save you a lot. I do one-on-one consult to these people who are about to come, or some people who are here, and some who are actually been living here for a long time. Initially, the service I provided was for majority of the traveling nurses in here currently in the U.S. 2020 when I started mentoring a lot of travel nurses. Because I want to, we want to make a plan for them from jumping from a staff nurse to a travel nurse. So I did that financial planning on them and strategic planning. So goal setting. So the number one there is goal setting. You really have to know what your goals are. So I do that as a one-on-one to people who are coming here now to the US. So I tell them to talk to me first. Talk to me like 2 to 3 months before they leave their country, so we can assess where is the best place for them to come and to live. So we look around the housing, if they have kids, so I guide them where are the best places for schools, and maybe we can live near towards that school. And then I help them budget. That's the most important thing, because a lot of people who did not get my service, they come in here, the first thing they do is, first, if they get a housing from that place, I mean from that job, that's good. But some of them, they don't, so they just rely on Google giving them the most expensive housing available under Google
Mhm.
searches. So I've seen one paying like 2,500, whereas the other person that I help, I got her at 1,400. So there's a big difference of $1,000 every month in
Right,
there.
right,
So those are the services I do. I make sure that we find the best housing for you that will match your goals and that is convenient as well for your school. And then that we will see your budget for the entire family or for yourself. And then after that, that's the time we will assess what cars can you afford. Because a
right,
lot of people did it wrong coming in here. They jump into the new place. The next thing they did was to get a car that was way beyond their budget.
right.
And every month, they were accumulating negative profits, negative income.
Oh
So
no.
I have met a lot of people who come to me after being here for 1 year, and it said, Miss Kay, can you help me? We're $20,000 debt. And I said, what happened? Let's look into it. So those are the service I do. I do one-on-one consult because finance is not a one size fits all. So a $35 might not be good enough for these people, or $35 per hour might be good for one people. It's never a one size fits all. So
Right.
analyzing your budget, mainly your budget when you get here, and analyzing how much is your taxes coming in here, giving a rough estimate. And if you have a goal, we talk about, hey, if you to reach that goal, do you have to do extra job? What are your options? So those are the services I do. It's a one-on-one consult. It's a very cheap one right now because I haven't finally announced it in the major in out in the market.
Right.
First time I did it, that I announced it, I had my whole week was packed, and
Oh
I'm like,
no.
I
We're
said
gonna get more messages today.
I know. I said I felt like I run a full schedule of a clinic of a doctor
Right,
from
right,
morning
right.
to until until the evening. So I do that one on one. The way I do it is, first I give free service for 15 minutes. I assess what you need, and if I see that you're gonna benefit from my service, I'm gonna offer it. But if I don't see you benefiting any more than and if I see you only benefiting like less than $1,000 because you did your research, you don't need me.
Right,
But if
right.
I see you, hey, if you use me, I think you might be able to save around maybe 20,000 in the span of 3 years.
Yeah.
And of course, I will offer my service. Again,
There
my
you go.
service, I make sure that I offer it ethically. It's not like, hey, I'm just going to offer it even if you don't gain anything from me. So,
Right, right, right.
my best advice is your research on before coming here in the US, or even if you're here right now, you educating yourself on finances is a very important thing. Like I said to Paul, or other people that I always say, taxation has two systems here in the US. If you ask me what is that, the first part is taxation for the poor and uneducated. Okay. Again, taxation system for the poor and uneducated,
Right.
or the taxation for the rich and educated people. So you want to know where you want to fall in that area. For
Right.
me, I like to be in the taxation for the educated and
Right,
rich.
right, right.
So um, it's not just about taxation, but it's actually for the financial system in the U.S. overall. You don't just buy insurances you don't know, because it adds up to your cost of living. You just don't buy life insurances, particularly
We're
that
gonna
you
talk
have no
about that
idea.
soon.
It adds up. I have met people who was paying like $900 a month. So that adds up to your cost of
That's
living.
yeah.
Your
Mhm.
cost of living is like your operational cost just to breathe,
Yeah.
technically.
You're right.
So you just don't buy an SUV because you like it. You have to understand that a very expensive SUV comes with a very expensive car
Maintenance.
insurance and
Maintenance too.
plus maintenance
And gas.
and
Bigger the
gas.
car.
Yeah, I said to myself before coming here in the US, I want to own a Porsche. That's my goal, a Porsche.
Right.
I came to the US. I said, let me try this Porsche. I've tried it for a whole week. And I said, the peace of mind parking in a street, it blows my mind. I don't want to own this.
Right,
I
right.
can I can afford a Porsche, specifically the Carrera.
Oh,
I can buy
that's a
it. I
pretty
have no
car.
problem buying it. The problem is, am I gonna be happy thinking about the cost of it, the insurance? One visit for oil change is gonna cost me $3,000.
$3,000. Yep, very
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah. The trailing expense, you will have to remember that there's always gonna be trailing expense. You just don't settle like, this is the car I want, and this is the car that I like. It's a big car, but first assess, can you
What you
afford
need.
it?
Right.
Exactly.
Especially if you're
There.
new here in the US, right? Like you're just
Yeah.
barely starting. There's so much front-loaded expenses, like like furnishing your house alone will already make you spend money, putting your kids to school, getting all those insurance and healthcare situated. That's a lot of front-loaded expenses. So your first year, probably you're not gonna make a lot of money into your savings.
Yes, exactly. So it's very important to plan this ahead. If you guys 2 months before, I would advise you 2 months before you leave the Philippines or outside or other countries, make sure you run your budget. So when you get here, the next step that you will have to do now is budgeting the actual now, you know.
Right, right.
And you want to always budget your cost of living conservatively. When I say conservatively is which means you overestimate expenses because you don't want to underestimate expenses, and when you come here, oh, there's more, now I'm in a hole. So always study around, ask for people. Lefora is very helpful. I did couple of calculations. Somebody posted there like, is this enough? And then I said, where are you going? What's the family? And then I, because the marketing was, hey, you're gonna be a millionaire when you get to the America.
Yeah.
And then I said, when you calculated it, I
That's
don't
a,
think you're going to be a millionaire with $150 a
that's a
month savings.
clickbait. Well, you're a millionaire if you convert it to peso, but you don't spend peso here. You spend dollars.
You spend dollars, everything is very expensive in here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we say we
Uh,
don't convert it, right? Because you're gonna have a heart attack. The
yeah, when I
first
had a baby, I had a
$15.
baby and just delivered in that hospital I was. I got a bill. It says their circumcision of a baby, my newborn,
Right.
and it says their Kelly use $900, and I'm like,
God.
$900 for this. And I'm like, it's just crazy. So
It is, yeah.
there are a lot of expenses in here that will hit your door, especially on healthcare. So you
Mhm.
have to plan very carefully. Healthcare here is very expensive.
Right.
You have to make sure that when you look for jobs, you have to ask, am I covered on day one for my healthcare if I have
Right.
kids and family? Because it's
Right.
very important. I know a lot of people who miss this. They were not given health insurance in their first 3 months, and somebody got sick on their family. One ER visit cost them $20,000.
Oh my goodness, that's
So
a
it's
lot of money.
yeah, so it's very important for you guys to remember that. And I hope you guys learned something from me. Thank you so much for having me, Paul. Knowledge is very important. It's your
Knowledge is
best
power.
investment.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Your financial literacy will be your best investment that you will do in your life.
All right. Thank you, Miss Kay. This is a very loaded show. We're going to put up more shows in the future for talking about finances, taxations, and savings, and retirements, and putting kids to school, and how can you assess your financial state. These are things that me and Kay are both passionate about. That's why we put up that group, the Scrubs Investors. It's one of the group that we manage. And right now, it has about 10,000 members, right, Kay, or more. But I'm not
It's
very
growing.
active there anymore because of all the things that I'm doing. But thank you, Kay. If you guys need to contact Kay, you can follow her in Facebook, the Travel Nurse Hacker. That's her social media
Yeah.
name, or social media
Yeah.
moniker. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Miss Kay, for your time today. I know it should be your time for your family, but thank
That
you
were
for
good.
joining me today.
Anytime, Paul. Thank you so much, and good luck on your journey.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right,
bye.
guys. Bye. That was the Dr. Nurse Paul Show, USA Nurse Series. And in the next week, we're going to have Secrets of Next Generation NCLEX show again. We're going to do another case study. So please make sure to follow my social media page, Facebook page, and YouTube, the Dr. Nurse Paul Show, or Dr. Nurse Paul in Facebook, to have you notified whenever I put up those events. So we do this every Saturday, Dr. Nurse Paul Show, every Saturday, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, or Central US time. Next week, Secrets of Next Generation NCLEX case studies, and there will be one winner of an NCLEX review package again from Aspire RN. Thank you, guys. You all have a great day. Bye.
You have just watched the Dr. Nurse Paul Show. Watch us live every Saturday, 8 a.m. Central U.S. Time. For more info about our future events, follow us on our social media channels. You can find us at Dr. Nurse Paul on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. See you next week.